Hello chess fans, we're back with another over the board analysis video. So in today's video, I'm going to show you my round 6 game of the Canadian Open against the 2170. So to give a little bit of context, this player had actually only been playing chess for 3 years and they already went up all the way to 2170 CFC. So they're definitely a strong player and someone who I decided to mix things up against. So my opponent decided to go for e4, and my motto of this tournament was just to play things that I actually don't really know and just try to wing it over the board. So I decided to go for e6. And now it's unfair to say I don't know this opening. I have played a lot of blitz games in this opening, but I've actually never played this in over the board classical. So I just decided that I was going to try to mix things up. And I was also sort of scared of my opponent's preparation, so I was like, okay, this pretty much dodges all preparation that he could have because I've never played this over the board. Okay, so d4, d5. My opponent went for knight d2. I was expecting this all because I prepped some of it, and here I went for c5. Now, as you know on the channel, I have a lot of games with e5, so be sure to check the video in the information if you want to see that gambit. It's a very, very strong gambit, I would say. I actually recently had a game where I beat a 2000 level player in pretty much 10 moves with this opening. Okay, so I went for c5 instead in this game, and my opponent went knight f3, and here, in preparation, I know that cd is the best move, and knight c6 maybe is the second best move, but here I decided to go for this move, knight f6, which sort of transposes to the Tarrasch variation. Oh, sorry, not bishop d3, c3, knight c6, which transposes to Tarrasch variation with knight f6. But I did this because after knight f6, for example, he does not have to commit to this idea with knight f3 in here. He can, for one, go for c3, knight c6, and knight e2. This is one thing he can do. The next thing he can do is he can also go f4, which I used to be a big fan of playing as white, so I know this is a dangerous line. Followed by, after c5, going something like, you can go knight df3 or you can go knight f3. Both of them are probably playable. I think this knight makes more sense though, because then you get a harmonious development. So, yeah, he can go for that too. So I decided to go for this line, because then it forces him to go knight f3. And now he went for c3, knight c6, bishop d3, just developing pieces naturally. And now I went for queen b6, attacking the d4 pawn. And here he plays this gambit with castles. So at this point, we'd both played every move pretty much, excuse me, we'd played every move pretty much instantly. So we're still both in theory. And here I went for cd, cd. And okay, I guess you guys were spoiled by the arrow, but basically if white has a move here, they're going to do two things. They're either going to go knight b3 to defend the pawn, or if I take the pawn, they're going to go for something like this. Takes, 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 queen b6. And here the main idea for a long time was queen a4. But this has become gone out of favor recently because of queen b4, and then after something like here, maybe white should go queen d1, but that's actually only been played once. But queen c2, something like knight c5 or queen c5, just chasing the queen, and then apparently black is doing all right here. So that's why recently this move a3 has becoming excuse me, has become very popular. Idea being to stop queen b4. Okay, so instead of that, I decided to go for a5, which is another modern trendy move in this position. The idea being that white wants to go knight b3, but now he can't because I go a4. And what other useful moves does white play? Because I'm threatening to take on d4 if he doesn't do something useful. Like if he does something like h3, then maybe I can just take on d4 and then, okay, I'm up a tempo. But also if h3, I can just continue developing. Like he doesn't really have useful moves. At some point, you might have to make a concession like knight b1 or knight f1 or something like that. So here he decided to go for queen a4, defending the pawn, which I think is probably the first mistake of the game. He should probably have gone rook e1, just continuing to sacrifice the pawn, and rook e1 is a move you're going to play anyways. And after bishop e7, here you have to play this really weird move, knight b1. Which, okay, it's really weird, but apparently after takes, takes, knight c3, you're in a Milner-Berry gambit where I played a5. Which is, quite obviously a very bad move. So here white should still be better. But you do have to know this as theory. So my opponent didn't know that. And my opponent didn't know that, so they played queen a4, which is the most natural move, defending the pawn. And I sort of expected them not to play this move per se, but sort of not know the opening ideas whatsoever because, okay, this is a very unpopular line, but also I know at least when I was a little bit of a weaker player, I used to be afraid of sacrificing pawns when I don't have theory to back me up. Like, I was afraid of just playing intuitively with the sacrifice. But that's something that I think that you definitely have to learn as a chess player, which is that you can be down material over the board even if the engine doesn't say you're better. Like, you should still be able to play that because the initiative is so strong, especially at the amateur level. So here I went bishop e7. And he went bishop b1, which bishop b1 is a very, very bad move. So here I expected him to go for like rook e1 or something. And here I'd actually prepared up to this position with a different move order. Not queen a4 first, but I prepared rook e1, bishop e7, and now queen a4. And now here I prepared this move g5. So I'd actually prepared all of this because I did expect him to make this bad move of queen a4. And g5 is just so out of the blue. It's just so weird that you can just start pushing the pawn. But yeah, white really has no way to defend. If they go something like here, like g4, knight ft2 or something like that, queen c7 followed by knight b6, or even b5 ideas, like here, I think that white's just probably losing. Maybe knight c5 is the only move. So yeah, I prepared that, but he went queen a4. Now I went bishop e7. Now he went bishop b1. Excuse me. And yeah, bishop e1 is just a terrible move. His idea was if I castle, he can go queen c2. But I'm never going to castle here. I went for g5, which was my idea. And here my opponent probably was distraught a little bit. He started shaking his head. And I think he missed this move completely. He was only thinking about castles followed by f6, which is maybe a normal French idea. But okay, in this position, like your pieces are so discoordinated that, or your knight is so badly placed that g5 is justified. Also, bishop b1 is bad because now he can't even go knight b1. Can't even remaneuver his knight. So here he went for h3. I went for h5, g4. And here I really should have taken. I actually made a huge mistake here. But instead of that, I was considering queen a7 or queen a6. I thought, okay, there's no need to give this tension. But yeah, this tension is really important to give up because then he can't take this way. And at least the h file is open. For example, one of the best moves is f5. We'll get to there later. So here, I really think I should have played queen a7 because I didn't see this. Idea being, like, for example, if knight b3, then I have queen b6. And king g2 is the best move. And here I can go b5 takes and knight takes d4. And this was sort of my idea. But I thought I was clever. I thought I could get queen a7 at tempo up. I went queen a6. And here he went queen d1 to get out of the way of b5. And then I went queen a7, attacking the pawn. There's no way to defend it. So he went queen a4. And now essentially I have got queen a7 for free. So I thought I was super smart. After, like, during the game, I was like, okay, he played all of this. Like, I'm so smart. I got queen a7 completely for free. But okay, maybe this plan only really worked because of the fact that I was not against like an extremely high rated player, even though okay, this player is quite good. But okay, maybe he also wasn't feeling the best during the game. I think that he told me that. Okay, but here I should have gone after queen a6. He can just go rook e1. Idea being to me b5 with here. Now queen b6, he can go knight f1. Now the knight has cleared a square that he can actually move to. And then here actually the position is about equal with I think takes something like bishop a6 or something like that. So that's what he should have done, but instead of that, I do just get a tempo up. So apparently my move, at least practically, I guess, was better than the engine's move because I got a position a whole tempo up on the engine's best line. Okay, but here now I took and went for b5. And now this is quite obvious to me. Attacking the queen, and he has nothing to do. Also, another thing I should say is that instead of queen a6, apparently takes f5 was the best move. I rejected this because of takes and bishop g6, getting his bishop off this horrible b1 square. Apparently here after king f8, I'm pretty much winning. Bishop d7 is a big threat, followed by knight e5, and if he plays a move like, I don't know, knight takes g5, I instantly win with here. So he just doesn't have a move here, apparently. After rook e1, he just lost. But okay, that was hard to see. So instead I did this, and I took, went b5, my whole idea. Now if he takes, I can just take here, and then after something like this, he's losing the exchange here. But if he took with the queen, then he would just lose this pawn in the center. So he can't take on b5, so he went queen b3. I took on d4, went queen d3. Here he probably should have gone for this move, queen e3, after which takes, we go into this endgame. But at least here he, got his bishop off the back rank. He got rid of his bad knights, and he's only down a pawn after something like bishop b7. I mean, I'm still winning here. I think I would probably still win this position, but okay, a lot more conversion has to be done, and there's a good chance that I mess things up. So he went queen d3 instead. Keeping queens on the board makes a lot of intuitive sense. Oops, sorry about that. Makes a lot of intuitive sense, but maybe it's not the best idea practically, because now I'm attacking this pawn. He defends it. Now I go bishop a6 with the threat to go b4. Here he probably should go knight f1, but I think that, again, he was in the mood, like, not to trade anything because of the fact that he was down the pawn. Knight b3. Now I go b4, attacking the queen. Queen d1. Queen c7, attacking the pawn. More tempo is being given. Queen c2. Now queen c8, defending my queen. And threatening queen b8 with another tempo. And now I'm also threatening knight takes c5 because after he takes here, I have this with check. So he went king g2, addressing my threat again. Now queen b8. So now I've had an initiative for the past 5 moves. Queen d2, again answering my threat, and again I take. Now I'm winning material because of my initiative, but already in this position, like, there was pretty much nothing he could do. It was pretty much lost already. Queen d2, now I take, he takes, I take, he went queen d4, and believe it or not, after my next move, he actually just resigned. So take a few seconds to see if you can find the move. Pause the video. Okay, the move is rook h2. Very, very nice move. If he takes, some of you might be thinking, oh, I just forked the king and the queen. But actually, that's not my idea. My idea was to go queen h2 here and checkmate. And he actually has no way to avoid this. If he goes king g1, knight f3 is a very, very pretty mate. And if king g3, which is the last move, here you just have knight c6. And after bishop f4, just takes here. If takes here, you can go bishop d6, but I was thinking in the game rook g2. And the idea being king takes and then here, but okay. Maybe I probably would have seen bishop d6 if this came over the board. So yeah, and then whatever else he does, if he blocks with a pawn, then I just take the queen. So yeah, that was the end of the game. I was pretty happy with this game after it ended. I didn't realize that I'd actually completely let him back into the game with queen a6, and queen a6 was actually my longest think of the game. I think I spent 30 minutes on that move. Every other move was not that much time, but okay, a nice quick win. 2 quick wins in a row after a very tough loss. Like, okay, it's nice to get back. Or I think this was 3 wins in a row. Yeah, I think I won 3 in a row at this point. So very nice to get back into the swing of things. And in the next round, I would be against another higher rated player. So yeah, that would be another good game. So with that all said and done, please like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video.